continuum of care is the only way I know what to say. I don't know if it's the right term or not, but once we take them inpatient to center point, whatever funding source they're on will follow them through, I think most of the time through the IOP. The county's never paid a dime for it that I know of. Right through the IOP and into whatever else they need. Some occasions we'll go from the 28-day inpatient. If they determine they need longer-term care, more problems, we'll send them to a halfway house somewhere else. They work good with Hope of East Tennessee and Oak Ridge and certain places we can take them to for a long-term placement if we need to do that. Okay, my issue now and what I'm seeing here is kind of services under one umbrella. What we found in the last few years is this term, the co-occurring term, I guess is the proper term now. We get some of these people off drugs and we start thinking, yeah, there's really something wrong. Some of them may have just been self-medicating because there's an issue and they need to be medicated again. But what we were having trouble with in my world, in the jail world, was the mental health part. We can take them inpatient. We can get them treated inpatient. We can bring them back to IOP, but if we don't have somebody to help with the other part of that, we're having problems. We're missing something. And a lot of the relapses that I've noticed, and Ray can tell you, he's a clinical guy, but is when something happens on the mental end of it. And I tell them all, I can get you clean from drugs. I can lock you in the closet and get you clean. I can't keep you clean. Keeping you clean is the issue. Keeping you clean is the hard part. I get you clean. And when you come back to this town and you're back in this environment where you know everybody and you used and you had your criminal history at, we're fighting a hard battle. And we need as much service as we possibly can to surround that person, kind of insulate them from some of that stuff. I mean, sometimes we'll never be able to, but there are some we can.
Go
ahead.
How many are clean coming out of the jail when you say on that test?
The majority of them now. When I test them coming out of jail, they're clean. Okay. And like I said, the reason we test them coming out, I've been to too many treatment places. I take them in their derby. When I get there, that's not really cool. That's kind of embarrassing for us, number one. But they won't keep them. You know, and I tell people, I get a lot of people coming in off the street that want to go to rehab. I don't know what to do, and we help them. They don't have to be in jail for us to help them. You know, we got our numbers this morning. I think I called you about. We've got Center Point. I was there this morning. I took an inmate last week, pregnant female, to Center Point from the jail. She's one Judge Duggar. Took her to the jail. Took her to Center Point. She's got a doctor's appointment. We had to bring her back today, and then we'll take her back tomorrow. And they're really good about helping us, you know, with all that stuff. You know, taking people that they get us a bed when we need one that they have so far. But it comes down to when they get to that treatment facility, they've got to be able to pass a drug test. If not, they won't take them because it's rehab, not detox. They've got to be medically stable. They take their blood pressure. They take certain vital signs and all this stuff. And if they meet their criteria, they'll keep them. From Center Point, I've rarely had to come back with, I guess, in 12 years, maybe a handful, no more than 4 or 5. I've had to bring back that they would not keep. But the inmates in jail now know that we test everybody before we walk out the door.
What does the drug recovery court fit into all this? I've not heard a great deal mentioned about that.
You talked about that. I'm not on that page. So.
That's just another way of doing it. And I wish Barbara was here. She could explain it better than I can. But Don, explain it just from your experience. You've been
on both, both ends.
Yeah.
We started doing it years ago. You know, I mean, a long time ago. I don't know how. I've been here 18 years. We started doing it probably, what, 14 years ago, maybe longer. Of doing what I said before. You know, we'd go down and do it ourselves. The drug court started. Judge Ward started it. I don't know how many years ago she started that program. Drug court's a different animal. It's a piece of the pie, I guess is the way to put it. Drug court that we have in our county is a misdemeanor court. Most drug courts throughout the country are felony courts. Ours is a misdemeanor court. Misdemeanors is where the county's inmates are. Those are the misdemeanors, not the felony. But there's such a narrow scope that can fit into the drug court model of people that can fit in. They can't be violent offenders. They can't be. I mean, they have to be addicts. They can't have certain charges they can't have. They can't have felony offenses. So they have to have a certain amount of time. A Class A misdemeanor is 11 months, 29 days. Maximum in jail, 11/29. To be in the drug court, you're going to have at least 2 11/29 stacked on top of each other before you can even get into the program and have enough time to complete it. I don't know what their actual number is right now of participants, but it was designed to take, no more than 30 people, I guess, Ray. Ray was on our first drug court team, so it was designed to take 20 to 30 people, I think, at max, that we could actually honestly supervise in the right way.
We've been in the 16 to 19 range.
Well, one issue come up in talking to different people that I had concern about was the co-occurring treatment, that apparently there was a gap at one point with Helen Ross McNabb and the Drug Recovery Court, that the A&D, and I know that's not your thing.
I know my issue at one time.
Yeah.
With it. I can tell you what my issue was, because Ray and I battled, head butted on this thing, and we're mostly on the same side, I think. We were head butting on this thing. I would bring somebody back from inpatient, from Centerpoint. So I'd bring them back. And we find out, or they find out, there's a co-occurring problem. Okay? And it's an issue, insurance issue, really, TennCare. At one time, and I think you have safety net money now, and I think it's better now than what it was. Back in the day when we started all this, they couldn't access to mental health without TennCare. But TennCare wouldn't pay for the inpatient treatment. So, what do? I don't send them inpatient, send them to mental health. Well, that's not helping any, because we don't deal with the drug issue at that point. Or I could send them inpatient, deal with the drug issue, but I get back, I can help them on the mental health issue. It needs to be a combined effort with mental health, with the A&D, because it's all the same thing. I mean, you take the drug away, they're going to need some mental health. But where the rubber meets the road, and Ray can tell you, or the past guy can, if we don't find out why the person started using and take care of that issue, you're never going to fix the drug problem. That's just my opinion.
I agree. And listening, I hear your concern. I'll stand. Please understand that we talk about co-occurring. It used to call dual diagnosis. I mean, there's different terms, but there's a mental illness or a mental, I don't want to say illness, mental disorder, along with a substance use disorder or abuse disorder. I have been old school AA. Dry them out, figure out what's wrong with them, and then if they need medicine, we'll give them medicine. But I've learned through education and just being in this field, alcohol and drugs are a symptom of a problem. There could be deep-seated issues. I mean, I can't tell you this. I say 90%, and this, I'm just throwing this number out here, and I think I'm being conservative. 90% of the females who come into New Hope Recovery Center have been sexually abused when they were children. Probably 50% of the males have. You say, why are they doing such crazy stuff when they're out there robbing, pharmacies and doing all this kind of stuff? They are physically addicted to that drug. The frontal lobe is the first thing to go. The rational thought's gone. And it just feeds off itself. They come in with no self-esteem. They know what they've done is not right. It's not a moral issue for them. They know. It's they can't stop. And again, kind of going back to the co-occurring thing, let it be known that we have seen quite a few people that have come to us from the court systems, even before we got the safety net dollars, that we just took in and gave mental health services to. We ate it because they desperately needed it. I don't know, I don't have any data to back that up. But Don says this guy's really got some issues going on. I made sure that they saw the folks on our mental health side. And Don and I have worked together forever. Again, we're on the initial drug court with Judge Ward, and we helped establish it. It's a great program, but it can only, it's limited, I think, in what they can do. Whereas for us, I mean, we can go into the jail, and again, it's education up front for the folks. That's key. Education in an early age. We have an adolescent alcohol and drug treatment facility, or intensive outpatient treatment facility, along with our adult, which is something D. Francis wanted from day one. We've got it now, and it stays pretty full.